Welcome back to Conversations on Reference. This is your weekly podcast on libraries and librarianship. My name is Simon Aristeguieta. I'm your host. In today's podcast, I'd like to talk about artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence has become a very important topic, and it will probably transform not only libraries and librarianship, but many things around us. We already seen how much impact artificial intelligence is having in our society. In my case, I'm a professor of library and information science, and artificial intelligence is already being used in universities from the professor point of view and also from the student point of view. I know for a fact that it's also being used by the federal government and other agencies to provide information and so on, and to make processes for faster processing. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. So, um, artificial intelligence has been around for a long time, fairly for a long time, but yeah, I think it has been in the last few years when it has become so uh, when it has become a mass when it has become a mass product being used by many people. Okay, so I think in the future or in the present and the future, we'll have a lot of impact in how we do librarianship. The first thing I would like to discuss is that I think for reference, it will be an ideal tool to work with, of course, a human librarian, because it will help to understand information needs of our users. It can even predict, I think, what the information needs of the user are, and also it will be able to retrieve information that is reliable, that is accurate, and that will address information needs of the user. I think up to this moment, of course, it will be necessary to have the intervention of professional librarians, okay? Because I think the artificial intelligence is not at the level of comprehending with certainty what those information needs are. But it will help also, it will help the user in stating and the information needs, and it can help the librarian understanding those information needs, and also retrieving sources that address that information need. Also, even let's say if we want to have remote reference 24/7, it will help to answer the questions that users may have when there's not a professional librarian present at the library. Okay, so they may have some reference questions, and they may ask those questions remotely to a AI assistant. I think that will be awesome to have a library open 24/7. Okay. Uh, it will also be, and I've been doing experimentation with that. I am going beyond Google search, and I have done a lot of, or I'm beginning to do search on on artificial intelligence engines that we have publicly available. And what I have searched on, it's about, questions that I have, that I normally would ask the questions to Google. And I go beyond that. I have tried to do more queries that are academically oriented. And what I have questions, I have seen the results, and I also ask for um, sources for peer-reviewed journal sources, and then I go and check those sources. I think we have to make good use of our access to information, artificial intelligence. What I have seen is that sometimes if I know the information that I'm getting is valuable, because I always ask when I'm testing the different artificial intelligence uh, engines. I know the names, I know the sources, I know the information, so I can confirm that in most cases it is a reliable information, it's a valid information. However, I have found that when you go to the sources, when I ask for peer-reviewed journal sources, and then I go and search for those sources, they may be sometimes off. Okay, so it's not 100% reliable. My recommendation when you're using artificial intelligence as a search is that you do the same steps that you do when you're using any other search engine. You have to corroborate the source, right, to see if it's a reliable source, if it's a valid source, if it's a source that have authority. I think that is the key so far. Another area in which we will be using, I think, artificial intelligence in the future is for cataloging and classification. It may be very useful, that you have a resource and an artificial intelligence designed for cataloging and classification of library items can do that automatically. I have experimented. I like to paint. I'm what is called a naive or primitive painter. So I don't have any training. And I do my paintings, I take a picture, and then I ask any of the artificial intelligence engines uh, to interpret with words what the picture that I have input in their systems. And I already know what I meant by doing my painting. My painting is abstract, but it always has a theme, a topic, an idea that I have thought. And so far, I have done that 3 times. And the interpretation of artificial intelligence has been right on what I had thought my paintings were about. The only thing that I provide when I do the queries using artificial intelligence is the title of the paint, and of course a picture of the paint. And then I say, please interpret what I have painted, and they come up with these descriptions of what artificial intelligence believe is in the picture, and they are very accurate. So I'm still in testing how artificial intelligence interprets abstract painting. But I think soon, if it's not being used yet, if it's not being used yet, it will be able to catalog an item. Okay, it will be able to create the meta data of an item, very close to what a professional librarian would do. So I think that will be, and also classify that for the catalog, and assign the call numbers and all of that, and add that item to the catalog of the holdings that the library has. We also can use artificial intelligence to correct grammar, to help with promotion, to produce items that we can use to promote library and librarianship. It is a very good app for translation and accessibility. So will be readers or library users will be able to read narratives that are in different languages, okay, without having a without the library having to buy probably the text in the same narrative, the same novel, the same monograph, or the same magazine in different languages, because artificial intelligence will be able to do that. The same thing if you have, it will increase accessibility because it will write text to speech. So even for our users who have difficulty reading, they will be able to listen to the narrative, to the books. So they will provide narration to our sources that we have in the library, which I think it's wonderful. I think, of course, that we have to be aware that this is a system or systems, artificial intelligence, that is still under developed. So it will take some time in which artificial intelligence will be able to take over many of the jobs that we have in the library. I don't think we have to see artificial intelligence as a threat to our role as librarians. I think the input of humans and in charge of artificial intelligence, it will be the key, in my opinion. Of course, if you hear other people, they have different opinions. They are very afraid that artificial intelligence is going to take over the world and so on. I don't see it that way. I see a, a resource that add more information for in responding to our information needs. I see it similar as what happened a few years ago when Google came about, when the internet became a mass product. Okay, when the internet became available, and we have Google and other search engines. We thought that was the end for librarianship and for libraries. And I think what it happened is open a new area of librarianship that maybe we didn't consider before. And we are still working on that. When I teach librarianship, I always say that especially in reference, when you're doing reference, one of the things that are more important for librarians is to be able to assess information. Because the problem nowadays is that there's too much information. So assessing the quality of the information, in my opinion, has become a key function of librarians today. I think that role of a librarian as an assessing and evaluating information will increase with artificial intelligence, because I have said a few seconds ago, I do that when I use artificial intelligence for searching. And and then I have to go and check the sources and so on, and I see there are problems. Okay, so we shouldn't be afraid of artificial intelligence. What we should be doing is trying to use artificial intelligence under the control of us humans. I imagine that for libraries and for users, it will be, and for librarians too, it will be a wonderful tool of searching, because it can provide to the users and to the libraries many alternatives of sources that will address information needs of our users and the librarian as a user. Another area which I think will be very important, that artificial intelligence will impact, is in instruction. Okay, it can help us. It can help librarians to increase their abilities of teaching and instructing the user. One of the main things that we have to do as a librarian, of course, is to be able to educate, to instruct, to teach the users how to search information, how to assess information, because that's the key. Well, maybe artificial intelligence will help us in that regards. So I see artificial intelligence as a great tool for reference, as a great tool for providing more access uh, to different populations with different issues. Also providing reference and other services 24/7. I see artificial intelligence into more technical for technical services such as um, collection management, um, uh, um, uh, cataloging and classification. And also, I see artificial intelligence as providing a lot of data for us librarians in order to manage our library in a more efficient way, and therefore providing a better service to our community. If artificial intelligence can help us to understand, what the advantages and limitations do we have in our library in terms of collections, in terms of services, in terms of hours of operations, in terms of our own spaces, and how to make the library the place that I have always dreamed of as the hub of the community. That place that the community comes to learn, the community comes to play, that the community comes to interact with each other. So if we have the library providing that information and managing or working on different functions that we have in the library, then librarians will be able to interact with the public. Instead of spending more time cataloging and doing classification and doing technical functions or adding items to the catalog or improving the website, uh, artificial intelligence can do that. In the meantime, we librarians will be doing more instruction, will be doing more education, will be doing programs for entertainments, for kids, for teens, for adults, for older adults. Will be having more interaction with the public. So I don't see artificial intelligence disadvantage. On the contrary, I think that that will enhance our role as leaders of the community, and because it will increase the interactivity that we librarians can have with our community if we don't have to take care of all the things that can be taken care by artificial intelligence. Of course, like everything else, it will depend on how we approach this mass phenomenon, okay, which is artificial intelligence. As I said, to me, it's very close to what happened when Google and other search engines came about. For many librarians, it was the end of the world. The same thing with electronic information and digital information. It has enhanced access to humans around the world. There are, of course, what we call in librarianship that digital divide. There are those who have access through electronic means and those who don't. So librarians then will have more time to make sure that anybody in their communities have that access, so so information becomes more democratic. Access to information becomes more democratic. We will have more time to think about things like that, that in my opinion are more relevant and important than just offering services to the daily services to our users. So let's think about this new phenomenon, this as a positive input in that relationship between libraries, librarianship, librarians, and the community. It will enhance that relationship if we see it as a as a helping hand, or in providing the librarian, the professional librarian, more time to enhance library services and programs. That's the way I see it, and that's the way I hope things develop. I would like to hear your opinion on artificial intelligence and libraries. Again, this is an open dialogue. You may have a different view, and you're welcome to express that. Um, Thank you for listening to this week's episode on artificial intelligence and how I see it as a positive development. And I hope to hear from you, and I hope to see you next week. This was Conversations on Reference, your weekly podcast on libraries, librarianships, and librarians. Thank you so much.